All right, so this brine recipe is pretty simple. I've made it before. I have another video for it. I'm not sure if that I put it up yet, but I have another one where I brined a turkey. This is kind of my go-to brine recipe. It's gonna take 10 cups of water. So we're gonna go ahead and get that on the stove and get this filled. And basically the brine, let's turn that off. The brine is going to penetrate the meat, and it's going to add in salt and sugar, and it's going to tenderize it, so when you're smoking it, it's going to keep it super tender. So let's get this water in. I'm going to go ahead and get 2 more cups of water. Okay, and 2 additional cups. So there are now 10 cups of water in this pot. So now from there, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn it on high and get that going, and then we're gonna add in the rest of the ingredients. Okay, so the rest of the ingredients are super simple. It just is kosher salt, which I will measure out, and then it's also granulated sugar. I already have it measured, so I don't want to pick it up and drop it. You can add in some onions, some fresh garlic. I am gonna just do the onions. I have these in the fridge. You don't want like a small chop. You wanna be able to pull these back out of the brine once you pull the meat out. So you're not gonna use them, but just, you know, the smaller they are, the harder they are to pull off the pork, excuse me. And then I always add in bay leaves. And then usually I'll do fresh garlic, but really honestly, just for time today, I'm just gonna use some granulated garlic, and I've got this out for another recipe for something else. So go ahead and get the salt measured. And I always find that kosher salt works best for the brine. If you don't have kosher salt at all, you can use just regular table salt, or even, but I would go from, this is 3/4 cup down to maybe about a 1/2 cup. It tends to be stronger, in my opinion, than regular kosher salt, excuse me. So we're gonna go ahead and add in basically all these ingredients to the water. So there is my salt, my sugar. You just go ahead and like dump it in. Here is my onions. And then usually put in 2 to 3 bay leaves depending on the size. I'll do like 3 today. And I don't usually measure the garlic. Again, usually I use whole cloves, but for today I'm just gonna sprinkle some of the granulated garlic. It's probably about a teaspoon's worth of it. I know you guys can't really see me the way my kitchen is set up. It makes it super hard to film both me and the stovetop. So I typically also add paprika to this. Let me find it real quick. I just remembered, forgot all about it. I knew there was something I was missing, but and this is just another, maybe about a teaspoon or so, and I just sprinkle. You can't really go wrong. You're gonna get a lot of your flavor from your smoke on your smoker and whatever pellets or wood that you use, but this just gives it some additional flavor in the brine. And again, it's just more to tenderize the meat, add in the moisture, so that way when you're cooking it, now I know super low and slow on my pork, but it just keeps it from drying out. So we're gonna let that come to a boil, and then as soon as it comes to a boil, I'm gonna let it cool. I'm gonna actually be putting it in a pitcher and putting it in the fridge. My pork butt is still thawing, but I have time. So tomorrow I will show you guys how I brine it, and I brine it for 24 hours. So then on Tuesday, we will pull it, put it on probably in the morning, and let it cook till about that evening, depending on what time I put it on, but we'll go through that later. So okay, so I'm giving it a good stir. I'm just checking to see. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. You can put it all in at one time, or you can just do the sugar water, and then that way you can see if it's dissolved, and then add in the rest of the seasonings. I just do it this way for time, but I can feel like as I'm stirring it, I don't feel any sugar granules or any salt anymore. And so those should all be dissolved. And that's all you're looking for, is you're looking for them to dissolve. So that way they will penetrate the meat. So I'm just gonna turn it off, let it cool, stick it in the fridge, and then we will be back tomorrow with this to go ahead and get it in the brine, and then that will brine for 24 hours. That is crucial. Now, depending on what meat you're using this for, whether if it's chicken, I wouldn't do more than 2 to 3 hours, depending on if it's bone in or bone out. Boneless chicken, maybe 2 hours at the most. And because if not, if you do too long, it will make it super salty. Now for a pork butt, never had that problem, but I can for chicken. If you do chicken legs with this, I would say maybe 3 hours, and then you'll pull them out and then you'll grill them or put them in the oven. Either way, it will keep them super moist and very flavorful for when you're cooking them. So anyways, we're gonna let this cool, and then I am going to get busy on a few other things. Okay, so I have my pork butt. I have my 2-gallon size bag, which holds the pork butt and the brine the best. I give the pork butt a really, really good rinse, and then I place it in the bag, and I'm just pouring over the brine, and then it is going to sit for 24 hours in the refrigerator in this brine. You need that much time for it to penetrate all the way through. And then I always recommend putting it in a bowl because you don't want the bag to bust all over your refrigerator. So, and now the pork butt is going on the smoker. I have a Traeger, and so I really like it. And then this is the final result, and this is after 14 hours of smoking. I usually like to do my pork butts low and slow. I just feel like it gives it such a better flavor, and that fat can render down. And as you can see, this is the final look with some ribs that I did as well. And now once it's time to serve, I will take the pork butt out, put it in a bowl, and then I will start to pull the fat from it and the meat from it. Now, some people really like that. In our family, I need to clean it up really well, but you can see how juicy this pork butt is. By doing low and slow, it really just allows that fat to render down into the pork, and it gives it such good flavor. But you can see that is how juicy it is after smoking it for 14 hours. And then you can see the bark that is on it as well. It's smoking slow and low, to me, is the way to go. So thank you so much for joining me today as I show you how I brine our pork butt for smoking. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to my channel.